explanation of your previous temperature sensor. So far whatever we have read is what is temperature sensor, what it does, and what is the basic working principle. Now types of temperature sensor. Under types of temperature sensor we have two types. One is your contact temperature sensor type, another one is your non-contact temperature sensor type. As the name specifies, it is a contact temperature sensor type. So where it doesn't require, it requires contact temperature sensor type means the temperature sensor needs a physical contact with the object being sensed and using conduction to monitor the changes in temperature. So there will be a contact between the physical contact and there will be a physical contact between the objects where exactly we need to measure the temperature in case of your contact temperature side, and every minute the monitor will be taking place. Whenever there is a conduction, at that moment the temperature will get monitored. So they can be used to detect solid, liquids or gases over a wide range of temperature range. Temperature sensors are of two types. One is contact temperature sensor type and second one is your non-contact temperature sensor type. As the name indicates, contact temperature sensor type, here there will be a physical contact with the object being sensed and monitoring will take place for during any conduction there will be change in your temperature. At that moment the change in temperature has to be monitored, and this is mainly used to detect your solids, liquids or gas over a wide range of temperature. In case of non-contact temperature sensor, there is no physical contact between the object and the object to be sensed. It is the main difference between your contact temperature sensor type and non-contact temperature sensor type. Like radiation energy, detecting the radiant light being transmitted, detecting the infrared radiation detected from the sun, convection current. It can also be used to detect liquids and gases, but it is mainly used to detect the emitted radiant energy as the heat rises. Once the temperature starts to increase, you could see a red hot flame coming out in the form of, and it gets radiated. So as it gets radiated, that will be sensed, that is going to be sensed, and it is also used to detect the radiant energy that is being transmitted from the excess heated body, and also it is used to sense the object in the form of infrared radiation. The next type of temperature sensor is thermostat. What is meant by a thermostat? It is nothing but it is having a bimetallic strip. Thermostat means it is a static device and it is having a bimetallic strip which can be used either as your electrical switch or it can or the mechanical switch can be used to operate as a electrical switch in a thermostatic principle. Thermostatic controls and are used extensively to control hot water heating elements in boilers, furnace, hot water storage tanks as well as vehicle radiator cooling system. Thermostat, 4 points you should remember. Thermostat, it comprises of a bimetallic strip. It can either act as a electrical switch or the mechanical switch. The mechanical switch, it can be operated in the way of operating as such of your electrical switch. Water heater is having a bimetallic strip. When you see the water heater, water immersed heater, there will be two lines. So those two strips are called as your bimetallic strip. That is to control the hot water heating element in the furnace, hot water storage tanks as well as in vehicle radiator cooling system. Basically, the thermostat is made up of metals like nickel, copper, tungsten or aluminium. And as we said, it is a bimetallic strip. Bimetallic strip means any of these materials will be bonded together and the different linear expansion rates of two dissimilar metals produce the mechanical bending moment when the strip is subjected to heat. So basically, thermostat comprises of bimetallic strip. The bimetallic strips are made up of nickel, copper, tungsten or aluminium. As it is a bimetallic strip, it is bonded together. It works under the principle of different linear expansion and it can work either as an electrical switch or as the mechanical way of operating as an electrical switch. It produces mechanical blend. Next we will see a bimetallic thermostat. As we discussed, bimetallic comprises of two electrodes made up of nickel, copper, tungsten or aluminium. The metal could be anything. As it is a bimetallic strip, it is bonded together. So there is high metal strip and lower metal strip. Lower metal strip is just bonded below the higher metal strip, and there is a electrical contact and electrical connections is also available. Since it is having two metal strips, it is called as a bimetallic strip. And both the metallic strip or two different metals that are stuck together back to back. Higher metal strip and both lower metal strip. Both are not of same material. Both are of different materials and both are bonded together as we discussed in the earlier session. So when it is cold, the contacts are closed and current passes through the thermostat. When it under normal condition, only two condition. When the temperature is normal, when the temperature is abnormal. It is a metallic strip, right? So when it is subjected to temperature, there may be a compression or elongation of the metal takes place. So under normal condition, the electrical contacts are in closed condition and current passes through this coil. When excess hot, when the metal started to heat, it starts to bend as shown in this figure. You could see over here, when the metal is getting heated up, it started to bend. When it started to bend, both the metals will not have a same temperature. So which metal comprises of higher temperature, that will starts to bend to a larger extent, and it causes the normally closed contact of this electrical contact to get open. Hence the current stops to flow through the circuit. One more time I will repeat what is meant by a bimetallic thermostat. Bimetallic thermostat means it comprises of two strips. Both the strips are made up of different material. Name it as higher metal strip and lower metal strip. As it is having two metals, it is called as a bimetallic strip. Here this metal strip is subjected to temperature. Two conditions we should write it. One is when the temperature is under normal condition. When it is under cold condition, there won't be any temperature subjected to these metal strips, and hence the normally closed contact will remain closed and current starts to pass through the circuit. When this metal strip is subjected to temperature variation, at that moment when it is subjected to heat, the temperature starts to vary between these two materials and any one material will starts to expand, and it causes the normally closed contact of this electrical contact to get open, and hence the current stops to flow through the circuit. It is the basic working principle of your bimetallic thermostat. There are two actions that takes place in bimetallic strips. One is your snap action, another one is your creep action. Snap action means whether the temperature is getting, when the material is subjected to temperature, it expands, and based on this metal strip, based on the expansion only, these two action is taking place. Snap action type thermostats are commonly used in home for controlling the temperature set points of ovens, irons, immersion hot water tanks, and they can also be found on wall to control the domestic heating system. Whereas the creeper type generally consists of a metallic coil or a spiral that unwinds the coil up as temperature change. Based on the temperature variation, expansion takes place in the bimetallic strip. Based on the two actions happen. One is your snap action and another one is your creep action. Snap action is a simple on-off or off-on type action of your electrical contact based on the variation in your temperature. Whereas creep action is the gradual change in their position as the temperature changes. For example, here automatic on-off. For example, you can take a oven. Once the process is over, automatically it gets off. Creep action means it is a type that gradually change their position as temperature changes. For example, you can take a unwinded of the coil up as a temperature changes. So it is the basic action that takes place when the bimetallic strips is subjected to the temperature and causes expansion in it.